The Shaw 101 FM, WAUK 540 AM.
Cheese curds tossed in seasoning on a bed of crinkle-cut fries with a demi-glaze and cheese sauce drizzle topped with herbs and more cheese.
By the way, Darren Brady in 2018 set the world record eating 5 pounds, 2 ounces of cheese curds in 6 minutes.
Man, that sounds kind of tasty.
Moving Wisconsin forward, one joke at a time, this is Kristin Brey with As Goes Wisconsin.
Yada, yada, yada. Hello, Wisconsin!
Hello, Wisconsin! Happy Monday! Happy National Hot Fudge Sundae Day! Happy Feast of St. James the Apostle Day. Happy birthday to legendary Golden Girls actress Estelle Getty. And happy National Wine and Cheese Day, or in my house, to come full circle, happy Monday. We are here in studio. Jane, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I am so glad we finally got some rain.
I know. How's your body feeling today? Weren't you out in the garden for a while yesterday?
Yeah, I waited for like 2.5 hours yesterday because the ground was finally soft enough to get things out of the ground. But I'm reaching that point in the summer, Kristin, where I'm ready for things to start dying. I'm tired of watering.
Just bring the snow back. You're like, I'm ready.
Well, it's been a great couple months. Okay, we'll see you next year.
These flowers have had enough of you. All right. Well, if you were ever a fan of Milwaukee Record, you might have at some point last year caught a couple episodes. I think there was about 9 or 10 of a classic that it's been a while since we've really gotten to do this, but there was a show called Matt and Kristin Talk About Stuff, and starring me, Kristin, and Matt Wild as Matt, and he is our guest today.
Hello.
Co-founder, co-editor of Milwaukee Record, a local arts and entertainment website that has somehow existed since 2014. You guys are coming up on 10 years.
Somehow, yes. It's baffling. Wow. It boggles the mind, but yes, we've been doing this. Myself and my partner in crime and business, Tyler Moss, we've been doing the Milwaukee Record now, since 2014. So, creeping up on 10 years.
Are you guys going to do some big snarky party for your 10-year anniversary?
I think at some point I drunkenly agreed to get a tattoo of the Milwaukee Record logo if we made it to 10 years. I am currently tattoo-less. No tattoos, but so that may happen. I don't know.
Do you have a spot picked out?
Oh, I'm going straight forehead. I'm going all in. I'm gonna
straight face tattoo.
Face tattoo or neck tattoo. So we'll see. Yeah, I still got about 2 years.
Yeah, you got 2 years of fails before you have to actually
That's right.
through.
Oh, I'm going to tank this thing. Yeah, I'm getting out while the getting's good.
Just to avoid a tattoo. All right. Well, it's been a while since we got to sit down and do this.
It has been a while. Like you said, we for a while did a little thing, just a video thing, kind of like this, not as fancy as this, obviously, but you and I sitting at a table talking about stuff, talking about the issues of the day. We did about, I'd say 9 or 10 episodes. Since then, you have rocketed to the top of the Milwaukee area media landscape. It is like you and John McGivern are like tied for the top dog here. So congratulations on everything that you've been doing, Kristin.
Thank you. I joke a lot about being the Michael Strahan of Wisconsin. Or
I like that. Yeah.
It's just everywhere all the time. But no, this has been we're in our 4th week of the show. So, once we're past a month, I mean, that's the biggest hurdle.
And this is not easy. I mean, you're filling 2 hours of airtime every day?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. And I know that's not easy. It's not easy to fill 10 minutes of time sometimes. So hats off to you. I don't know how you do it.
A lot. I'm surprised I'm not grayer at this point. I think give me till the end of the year, I'll probably have more gray hairs. But for the time being, we're having fun. I mean, I think that's also the thing is that Wisconsin gives you plenty to talk about. And I always laugh because I think having left and being gone for 17 years and then moving back and knowing how a lot of my friends who still live on either coast think about Wisconsin, they, I think, would be surprised to know how not boring it is, and how, if you pay attention to the news, there is always stuff to talk about, and especially when it comes to our politics. And as of this morning, breaking news, you and I were not, this was not on our schedule last night of what we were going to talk about, our lineup, but woke up, turned on the tweeter, and Tom Nelson out of the Democratic race to run against Ron Johnson for U.S. Senator 2 weeks before the primary.
2 weeks. And not only is he dropping out, is he now endorsing Mandela Barnes, I believe?
He immediately endorsed Mandela Barnes as not only the only progressive candidate, but also the only candidate who's not trying to buy this election. So even on his way out, he had to get a swipe in.
Shot,
yeah, because Nelson was notoriously, I think, the only one who was really taking any shots this entire race. And so still on the way out, still needed to jab Godlewski and more so Lasry.
Alex.
Because I mean, I don't know if Godlewski's really. She just hasn't spent nearly the amount of money that Lasry has spent on his primary.
No, by the amount of mailers, Alex Lasry mailers that I get in my mailbox hourly. He's dropping a couple bucks on that thing. I love any picture of him in a hard hat. I have them framed. They're beautiful. It's like, I think he built Pfizer for him himself. He was right on the crew, and he was down there every day.
Him and his kid.
It's amazing. Yeah, just incredible.
Surprised there isn't pictures of Eleanor in the hard hat.
That's right.
In some of the campaign.
Just down there on the floor every day.
And so I also I think a guy named Alan Talaga or Talig, I don't know, but he made an interesting point, because Tom Nelson dropped out and immediately endorsed the candidate with the policy goals closest to him. He said Kevin Nicholson dropped out and didn't endorse anyone because no other candidate shared his primary policy goal, building power and prestige for Kevin Nicholson. and I do think that's interesting. I think it's obviously a swipe at Kevin Nicholson, but the fact that it is commendable that he's still like, all right, we still got to win this thing. Like, because he just said, we ran out of money. Like, we just didn't have enough money to stay in the game. And because as we said, as of right now, Alex Lasry has given himself a total of $12.3 million in self loans. Ooh. So he personally has loaned his campaign over $12 million.
$12 million bucks. Tom Nelson did not strike me as a person who had anywhere near $12 million to drop on anything. He, of course, had what I thought was a real ace up his sleeve. Back in June, the Spin Doctors, the lead singer of the Spin Doctors, his name is Chris Barron, and his band, the Spin Doctors, released a campaign song for Tom Nelson. This was just hit me exactly right where it counts. It's an intersection of, long shot politicians and 90s alt rock bands that are still getting it done in 2022. This was incredible. There was a Spin Doctor song that they wrote for Tom Nelson, and it just came out of nowhere. I don't know if they know each other. I prefer not to know, because it's funnier if you don't know, when it's just like you thought maybe the Spin Doctors randomly one day woke up and wrote a song for Tom Nelson, and it was a banger. I'm going to be honest. So I don't know if we have time for this.
I feel like you should what are the lyrics to this song? Yeah, I feel like that really was the cornerstone of the song, was how profound and subtle the lyrics were.
Absolutely. So I'm going to do a quick dramatic reading. I'm going to try to channel my inner Shatner here and give a big performance here of the Spin Doctors' Tom Nelson campaign song, entitled "We're Going Full Nelson." Tom Nelson's better at talking. He's better at cooking. He's a much better person. He's just better looking. Good for the country. Good for Wisconsin. Zip up your Johnson. We're going full Nelson. Thank you.
That's it? Those are all the lyrics?
That's it, yes. That was it. That's the song. Those are the lyrics. What a way to end it, too. Zip up your Johnson. We're going full Nelson. I love
it, because in every reading Johnson and Nelson, those two words should rhyme. Right. They don't, but they should.
Yeah, that's right. But somehow the Spin Doctors, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, two Prince's Spin Doctors, they made it work. So hats off to them. But I thought that would do the trick, but sadly
Did
not.
did not get him over the edge. A full Nelson's a wrestling move, right?
I think so. That's right.
Half Nelson, full Nelson. I was not a wrestler.
Yeah, we're not going half Nelson. We're going full Nelson. And now Nelson has zipped himself up and has exited the race. And the spin doctors are crushed. I don't know. We'll have to check in with them later.
I feel like this won't be the last time we see Tom Nelson, though, in Wisconsin politics. That was what was striking, is how young all of the candidates on the Democratic side are. I don't know. I guess a little less so on the Republican side, but certainly, I think Tom Nelson was the oldest at like 44.
I think he was 46 or something. Yeah,
and it's like Lasry's 35.
Is that right? Is he that young?
Mandela is 35. I think Alakara's 33, and Godlewski's like 38. So it's young, which I appreciate. I mean, as we live in this geriocracy.
I find it terrifying because really? I've reached the age now where I am when I go to the dentist or the doctor, I am so old that these people are younger than me now, and now political candidates are younger than me, and I just don't know what I've done with my life. So
it's more of a personal thing.
Oh, yeah.
You're just this makes me feel bad about myself.
The long, dark, tea time of the night, I am just thinking about how my dentist is younger than me and how Tom Nelson is maybe only a year older than me. So.
Well, that's how when they talk about professional athletes and how, oh my God, they're so old. How have they not retired yet?
Right,
they're just so decrepit. They're 34.
Yeah.
And you're like, God.
And you always think of these guys and gals as, being I don't know, in their mid 40s, but they're all 22 or something, right? Of course they are.
As a ballerina, you're old at 24. It's if you hit your prime, you're past your prime. You have to move on. Think of that next career.
So that's why I appreciate, folks like Aaron Rodgers, very own Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. They're, I don't know, what are they in their 50s now at this point? I don't know. They're still getting it done. So, hats off to them.
You can see Tom Brady once again this year because he, in fact, did not retire.
He's back. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Did retire, then decided, I do not want to stay home with these kids. I'm going to go back to the game. All right. Well, when we come back, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I guess more so speaking of Lambeau Field, there was a football game at Lambeau Field. So we're going to talk about that. All right. As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey.
That's on. Take yesterday's trash to the alley. It's all been peaks and valleys, picking all the short straws as they're drawn.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. I'm joined today by Milwaukee Record co-founder Matt Wild, and you've equipped us for the day with some local tunes. So who were we just listening to?
That's right. Yeah, all the little bumper I picked out. Some all Milwaukee tunes that were all released this year in the past 6 months or so. The one we just heard was my pal Ian, his band Daydream Retrievers. They just played at the Cooperage over the weekend. I sadly missed it, but that is a song that I absolutely love. And you can check them out. You can find them on Bandcamp. Daydream Retrievers.
Daydream Retrievers. That's a good name. All right. So, are you football? Are you a football fan?
Now
AKA soccer?
We're talking soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah, soccer. I have traumatic childhood memories of playing soccer, so no, I am not. Probably too dark to get into on the air, later we can talk. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
But no, I am not a huge football or soccer fan, but I appreciate that many people are, and it's kind of huge, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it feels like one of those things I should kind of get on board with.
So you never get into the World Cup games? You're just kind of like, meh.
Yeah, it's
you make your way over the Nomad and just.
It's just not my thing, and as we'll talk about later in the show, I've learned in this case to keep my mouth shut about not liking it and be like, have fun with it. It's not for me. Kind of stepped in it over the weekend. We'll talk about that later, but as soccer goes, I'm happy that everyone else is happy.
Good. Well, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest. I am a big fan of the World Cup. I think it's very fun to watch those games. I am very pressed by the athletic prowess it takes to be able to play soccer at that level, just because of the running and the kicking and the foot handling of the ball. And
there was some handling, yes.
So, yeah. But there was a soccer game at Lambeau, first ever. Manchester City, and I think it's pronounced Bayern Munich, which they both played each other at Lambeau this weekend, and it was raining. There was basically a monsoon, and it was just two of the world's most recognizable football powers invading arguably the most iconic football field, and there was quite the turnout. There was over 78,000 fans, and they came from 19 different countries and all 50 states.
That's wild, yeah. To see something like that succeed in a place like Lambeau, and amazing, incredible, like you said, historic place. I would imagine the tailgating was similar to a Packers game.
Apparently, the tailgating was can I say that word? Indistinguishable. There it is. Yep. From a Packers game.
Oh, nice.
And so, other notable things that happened. There was a streaker.
Good.
As I said, there was a monsoon, because I know that how hard it rained in Milwaukee on Saturday, but I guess it was just as hard up there. 5 people were arrested and 4 others were ejected due to, quote, various misconduct violations. But guess who had the worst night, I think?
Yeah, well, toss up between 2 people, though. I think one may have had the worst.
Yeah, so I think there's one who, in the long term, it's going to be a lot worse for him than the former. So there was a viral TikTok video, because, we all have our phones in our pockets now, and we can all tape anything that's happening. So
that's right.
Beware as you are unsure. If you do not know if you're working at Lambeau,
right,
and you're unsure of who a massive, charismatic, good-looking black guy is, maybe assume that he's probably a Packer and not just a random guy trying to break the rules, because AJ Dillon, one of my favorites as far as Packers go, he's just so charming and so good, and he's just a bulldozer,
just a delight
on the field. So during there, because like we said, there was a huge rain out, and so there was delay of game, and security escorted AJ Dillon down from his seat to the field so he could do a Lambeau leap. And in the video, this cop, I don't know if he's a Brown County deputy or if he was a Green Bay Police Department cop, but AJ Dillon goes to start to run to leap, and he yanks him by the back of the uniform that he's wearing. I think he's wearing a Manchester uniform. And he just like, his head pulls back, and shockingly, this is probably why he's so delightful. AJ Dillon's like not unfazed. Like, he doesn't get fired up. He doesn't get in this guy's face.
Kind of explains, I don't know, he's kind of making his case like, hey man, I could, I'm supposed to be down here. I don't know if you dropped don't you know who I am? But I don't think he did. I mean, not that it was incumbent upon him to handle this well, but he did. And then this law enforcement officer gives him a shove. Like, there is a real like late hit. Yeah, late hit. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, the shove was the worst part of it. He just gives him a shove, and then he stays on the field. He does the Lambeau leap, and that's the end of the clip. But woof,
woof. And so and there you can see in the field. Then there's a bunch of people in the audience like flipping off.
Yeah, there's
the cop. But my argument is I think the cop has the worst night, because I think the embarrassment of once you realize not only that you didn't know who AJ Dillon was, but also the way that you treated him, and like were so aggressively aggressive towards him on camera in front of 78,000 people. And AJ Dillon was like, even when he tweeted about it afterwards, he explained it. He goes, it was just a miscommunication, no harm, no foul. And I think some of his teammates were like, you're a better man than I was. I would have not handled it that well.
And I don't think he needed to handle it that well, but he did. And I don't know. Yeah, to me, the shove was super gross, super uncalled for. And I know it's you're doing security at Lambeau Field, and you mentioned there was a streaker already. I don't know, but woof, not a good look.
Maybe he just didn't like the rain.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a rainy night, but I don't know. I'm glad that worked out. I had a lot of friends who went to the game, and I saw a lot of pictures, and they were soaked, but having a blast. So,
I would definitely go to one in the future. And since there was an estimated $10 million impact for Green Bay, I'm assuming that there probably will be another game in the future. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about another famous Wisconsin sports arena and my displeasure with them at the moment. All right, this is As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey.
Liberation. This is a roller skating jam called Liberation.
Ain't nobody coming to save you, you gotta get up. I self-law, Lord, who better than us? I was raised on X-Clan and Sonny Carson, still stand vainglorious. Never could.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. All right, now which one? Who's this?
This is another local artist from Milwaukee, Blax, Blax. He has a new record called Angeline out. And it's fantastic. One of my favorite Milwaukee records of the year. And it was nice bumping into him at the Swing Park a couple weekends ago. So
nice.
Yes,
yeah,
Blax.
I liked that. I dug that one. So we are joined by Matt Wild all day today. Co-founder, co-publisher, co-writer, co-snark in chief.
Co-mascot, doing the dishes and vacuuming our office. We do it all at the ye old Milwaukee Record.
8 years old.
8 years old.
Almost double digits.
Will we make it to 10? Probably. I don't know. Like I said, it's a mystery to me too, but I'm happy to do it. And thank you to everyone who has supported us over the years and continues to. I love you.
There you go.
There you go.
And you guys, you had an event last week in honor of the year anniversary of the Bucks bringing home the championship. Was that Boone and Crockett?
This was at the Cooperage. Yeah.
Cooperage,
yep,
yeah.
The Cooperage. We had a Bucks championship game rewatch party. This was organized by us and my friend and yours and a guest of the show. Friend of the show, Dan Schaefer. Dan was there. The recombobulation area, Dan Schaefer. And yeah, we put on, we just screened the final game from last year on the year anniversary, and it was super great. We screened it in the Cooperage on the big screen, and it was, it was fun, watching this game again. Of course, we all know how it ends, but seeing everyone cheer at the right moments and getting into it, it was a ton of fun. There was music outside on the patio, and it was just a gorgeous night, and just one of those nights, at least for me, I really kind of fell in love with Milwaukee, and it happens often. I've been here for 26 years or something, but it was a really lovely night, and it was fun to see people having a good time. And there's always a warm feeling when you have a small part in organizing something that people turn up for and respond to, and that it means a lot. So this was nice, and every time we screen UHF, the Weird Al show, the Weird Al movie, and people show up, that makes me feel really good.
Just
too.
as good.
Just as good.
You love your event children equally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, whether it's the Bucks becoming NBA champions or yes, the 1989 Weird Al classic UHF, which we screen all the time at the Avalon. So thanks to everyone for continuing to come out to those. But yeah, the Bucks rewatch party was terrific, and. Yeah, can't believe it's a year. I don't know. That was kind of a lot of what people were saying. It's like, has it been a whole year already? But it was great.
It was, yeah. I unfortunately couldn't go because I was moving last week, but I was bummed to miss it. But we tried to commemorate it as much as we could on the show that day. But let me ask, so what is your, do you have a go-to Milwaukee beer?
A go-to? Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. I like Lakefront a lot. Any of the Lakefront products are fantastic. But if we're talking more of a big brewery, I am a High Life guy. Miller High Life. That is my go-to beer. If I want to drink 17 of the things and maybe get a buzz, I'm going the champagne of beers in High Life. I will not drive, of course, after 17 or 2, but I'll take the bus. But yeah, I'm a High Life guy. And
I am a High Life girl. That is my. I mean, I know it is not. It's a full calorie beer, but I drink it like it's a light beer. And we are the brew city. Not only just because of Miller and all the beers that once were originated here, but still, like you said, Lakefront, we have a ton of different breweries. So you'd think that the professional sports team housed in Brew City would have a variety of beer sponsors to be the beer of choice in the Fiserv Forum. And yet, the Milwaukee Bucks are moving from the maker of Miller Beer to the brewer of Budweiser as the top beer sponsor at Fiserv Forum.
Unreal. This was a real Friday at 5 o'clock news dump. Which I love those. I'm a huge fan. I've got to do a top 10 list of the best Friday 5 p.m. news dumps of all time in Milwaukee. But this is way up there. This is, woo. That, yes, Anheuser-Busch, right? Whatever the whole, conglomerate's name is now the official beer sponsor of the Fiserv Forum. Wow.
And there's just so many things wrong with it. Because it clearly went to the highest bidder, right? Like, this is clearly one of those moments where the disparate feelings of the Bucks being the Bucks and us being so excited and proud of how good they are and how fun it is to have a winning team, and the people who own them not being from Milwaukee and being New York hedge fund managers who are like, yeah, this is a financial investment. Like, we're not here for the touchy feelies. Like, we're here to make money. And basically, I think Budweiser just outbid Miller. And because they lost a big deal with the White Sox. So they had money to spend, and they paid a huge amount. Potentially, some could say paid too much.
Sure.
Because I don't think beer sales are even that much. I mean, they're selling out, but attendance, if you went to any of the games this last year.
At Fiserv.
There's a lot of empty seats.
Sure.
For like reporting that it's a sold out game.
Right.
And so if a lot of those seats are going to corporate seats where just no one decided to go. And so you just have a bunch of empty seats. And if you have a bunch of empty seats, then you have less people who are buying beer. But the thing is, like, I think if we were on Reddit or if you were on any of the forums where people can give their very uneducated 2 cents about these things.
Reddit's a good one.
Whether it's Twitter or whatever. Like Molson Coors, obviously it's not Miller Coors, it's Molson Coors now. So Miller's not in the name, but it's still very much in Milwaukee, right? Their corporate headquarters is in Milwaukee and Chicago. They're still the beer sponsor even though they lost the naming rights at AmFam Field.
Right.
They're still the main beer sponsor. They're the beer sponsor of the Brewers, Packers, Summerfest, Wisconsin State Fair, local festivals, beer gardens. Like, they are still very much a part of this community, and they employ over 1,000 people.
It's stunning.
But the Bucks don't care.
It's stunning, yeah. Like I said before, a classic Friday at 5 p.m. news dump. What made me laugh about it right away was, everyone was mad about it instantly. And
it's also gross, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's also like the beer itself.
We can talk
gross.
about.
We'll come back to how bad Bud Light is.
Right.
Keep going.
But what was funny was people instantly bringing politics into it, because of course, and we talked about him before, Alex Lasry. Seeing this as a big political misstep for the Lasry family.
That's how I thought of it.
Which I laughed when people brought it up, and then I was like, oh wait, you're absolutely right. Everyone's absolutely right that this is a political misstep. And what a big one. I mean, why would you not wait a couple weeks to make this awful switch?
Just get past the primary, right? And so, yeah, that's what I think of it. I think I thought of it more as a punchline, but it's, it's like, Dad, could you not have just given me 2 more weeks before we had to drop this news?
That's right.
Because literally the same day this news dropped, he had Lasry had a press release of him up at like Point Beer up in Stevens Point, like promoting locally made Wisconsin brewed beer.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, oh, this is just, he already has the baggage of being called a carpetbagger, right?
Yep.
And having your dad and the ownership make a move that is like, we don't care about the local. We don't care that Miller once totally bailed out the Bucks financially, right? Like, we don't care about the history of this. We don't care about being a community partner. Budweiser is willing to pay us way more money. Like we said, this is an investment. We're not here for the touchy-feelies. And so it's, I don't know if this really changes anyone's mind about. I'm pretty sure anyone who's going to vote for Lasry is still going to vote for Lasry.
Yeah.
But it's just a bad look, and it's just bad beer.
It is bad beer. It is. In a pinch, I've been known to enjoy a Busch Latte, a Busch Light. But boy, that's
in a pinch.
In a pinch, and
operative word.
Pinch is doing
pinch.
a lot of work right there. Yeah, in a pinch. Look, if I am on a fishing boat and there's literally nothing on the boat, I'll have a Busch Light. But Milwaukee, the whole Miller and Bud. I mean, it's been a thing for a number of years. A few years ago, I think in 2019. There was a big stink. There were some Super Bowl ads, I believe, released from Budweiser, kind of taking a jab at Miller, saying that Miller uses corn syrup in their brewing process. And there were billboards all over town, and people got very, very upset. Miller got upset. A lot of smaller brewers came to Miller's defense. Lakefront was like, it's no big deal that if they use corn syrup or not. I guess Bud uses rice in the brew. I am not a brewer. I don't know all the ins and outs, but there was, a back and forth there, and it was a big rivalry and a big stink. There were bars around town that poured out all of their Budweiser products. I know Puddler's Hall in Bayview. They've got a big block party coming up this weekend. Speaking of Puddler's Hall, but they made a big show of pouring all their stuff, literally, in the bathroom, down the drain, pouring all their Bud stuff out. And that was just a few years ago. So it still stings.
Still, well, I am also not a brewmaster, but I have a friend who is a brewmaster and happens to work at Molson Coors. And so they weighed in on this, and they said it's BS. That they didn't say the acronym. Mm-hmm. It's a fermentable sugar source used in nearly all light lagers. We use corn source. Bud uses rice. At least I think they still use rice sugar, but it's scientifically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's 99% fermented into alcohol and CO2. In other news, then she sent something else. She texted me something else, but
nice.
So it's basically the same thing. They used it as an opportunity to, disparage their competitor. But it's just the taste of it is bad. Actually, I think John Oliver a couple years ago had described it really well. Do we have a clip of John Oliver describing? No, we have no clip of that. Bummer. Because they've stepped in it a lot. I think in that same clip of John Oliver had like a 4-minute segment that at one point Budweiser had the somehow, how you get every once in a while, it's like, how did this make it through the pitch meeting?
Right.
And sometimes it's, well, maybe they did it, it can't be this dumb. Maybe they did it just so that it would create its own PR. Like, I think we see that a lot sometimes, like the racist, like, fashion statements. And I was like, well, why are we doing? But like now we're just giving them free press. Right. We're all talking about it.
Exactly.
So at one point a couple years ago, I guess either Budweiser or Bud Light had their unofficial slogan changed to something along the lines of the beer that helps you eliminate no from your vocabulary for the night.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, that is right up there with like inappropriate bar names, that are like, ooh, the drag her in, or kind of, I don't know, stuff like that.
I think there's one in West Allis.
There is, yeah. I didn't want to call it. I feel bad for calling that one out specifically, but yes, there was one.
Is it called that?
I believe it's something like, I don't know, like Larry's drag her in or something. I don't know.
It's literally cavemen.
It is a cave, yes, a caveman dragging a cave woman by the hair, I believe. And yep,
I've been there. It's good. It's as dive bar-y as you can get.
It is, and maybe you got to give it a little leeway there because you're right. It is a fantastic dive bar, but similar to Budweiser with the whole, what was it, like eliminating no from your vocabulary.
And I kind of get, because I feel like they had a commercial at some point, which was the idea that you say yes all night. Like, you say yes to going out. You say yes to riding the mechanical bull. You say yes to this party and all the magical things that can happen when you just say yes in a night. Mm-hmm. But in the subtext of sexual harassment?
No means no. Yes. Yeah. Not good, Bud. So just another
reason to dislike Budweiser. So I guess I'll be drinking liquor every time I go to Fiserv now, because I will certainly not be drinking Bud Light at those games.
And not cheap to get a mixed drink at Pfizer Forum. No, not at all.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to take another break and then talk about some dumb criminals in Wisconsin.
I love it.
You love this?
Let's do it.
All right. We're going to do a play-by-play of a Menominee Falls man when we return. This is As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey.
Still a gat go bang like a kick in the snare.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. My guest today is Matt Wild. Who are we just listening to, Matt?
That is La Resorts, a tropical pop band from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Vinnie Kirscher and Martha Cannon. They put out a lot of terrific albums over the years. They have a new one. It's called Explorers. That is La Resorts.
Tropical pop band. I didn't know that was a subgenre.
Yeah, there's a lot of marimba in there, and it just makes you want to like lay out on a beach, perhaps Bradford Beach or any of the Milwaukee's lovely beaches, and enjoy a high life. And yes.
All right, so I feel like often most of us are very familiar, at least most of us in the media content funny arena. We know the running joke about Florida Man, right?
Right.
There's constantly Florida Man wrestles alligator. Mm-hmm. Florida Man brings blowtorch and fires off his finger. I don't know.
Yep.
There's like if you Google your birthday and then type in Florida Man, inevitably a flurry of headlines will pop up of Florida Man does X. But every once in a while, you get a good Wisconsin man.
That's right. Yep.
It's not as frequent, but it does happen. And so last week, video was released, and Wisconsin man does all smash, no grab.
No grab, yeah. That was the headline. All smash, no grab. This was I believe in Menominee Falls, if I'm correct.
Menominee Falls, so not far from Milwaukee.
This was a gentleman entered a Kay's Jewelers, and he had a brick with him, as one does when you walk into a jewelry store. Had a brick with him, and he walked up to one of the glass counters and proceeded to slam the brick onto the glass case, and kept slamming it on the glass case to no avail, because this brick just bounced off like that. It was like a rubber ball. It was amazing. And there was something so sad and futile about this, that this guy, here he is, caught on camera, not wearing, no disguises, there's no mask, there's nothing. It's just him.
He was in like cargo shorts, short sleeve t-shirt, sunglasses on his head, walks right in like he's about to buy a cheap Mother's Day gift, like because he's late, because supposedly this happened June 1st. So it's like, oh man, I forgot. I'm in the doghouse. I need to get one of those heart pendant necklaces for my wife and or mother. And that's what these ladies who work at this store, I'm sure, thought. But nope, brick out of the pocket. Slam 9 times.
Oh, did you count? Oh, yeah.
9 times he tried to get that brick through the glass. Times. I would like to know what that glass is made out of, because that really was sturdy.
That's the story here. Yeah, the glass really held its own.
K Jewelers, good investment.
Yeah, and the employees of K's too. I think that's the real kind of punchline, is that he's doing this 9 times. I think the brick eventually gets through. And then what appears to be a young, rather tiny employee, a female employee, kind of runs out from behind and kind of chases him off with like a stick. She's got like...
I feel like it's one of those poles turn the blind.
Right.
So it's one of those things where you have to stick the hook into the little loop, and then you twirl it around, and then the blinds come down.
I think you're right.
And she literally chases him out like he's a raccoon. Yeah. Like, it's like, I don't know what she thought she was going to do with this like aluminum pole.
And he takes off.
Yes.
He splits. And so... Wow, a big hero here, the glass and this employee who, I don't know. I mean, I would have ran. I'm not ashamed. I would have.
Like, this didn't work out the way I thought it was.
No,
so
I just would have.
I'm out of here.
I would have bounced. I would have backdoor.
But here's the thing. So this happened June 1st, and the Menominee Falls Police Department only released it last week because they still haven't found the guy.
That's right. Which is stunning, because like we said, he's not wearing a mask or anything. He's got like big tattoos on his like arms, like some pretty identifying attributes here. This is not...
And that's what, like, I feel like, isn't that... I've never done a premeditated crime like this, but I'm pretty sure the number one piece of advice, if you're going to do any kind of crime, but specifically a crime where there's going to be cameras involved, is cover your tattoos.
Something, yeah.
I mean, feels like a pretty telltale sign that they're like, yep, man, this is you. Like, we can tell this is you.
It's 101. I don't know what he was thinking. So
where do we think, is he just on the lam now? You think he's out of Wisconsin?
Oh, probably. Yeah, you're never going to see this man again. He has disappeared. We're going to have to call.
But he has no money. He didn't
John Walsh,
get the jewels. So what money is he living on?
That's a good question. I don't know.
He didn't get to pawn the cave.
Has there been a rash of these across the Midwest? Can we trail him? Is he headed to Montana right now? Are there any other jewelry stores that have slightly busted cases? I don't know. Did he get the brick? Did he grab the brick or not? I don't know. I think he lost the brick. So hopefully, well, not hopefully. I mean, I don't want this guy going around bricking all these places, but I don't know. Maybe he got a new brick. Ridiculous. I don't know. I feel like Jay Leno here talking about dumb criminals. This is good stuff.
Because when I first brought this up to Jane last week, I think I labeled it the Darwin Awards. But I guess I said that wrong, because the Darwin Awards is more when someone takes themselves out of the genetic pool. So since he didn't die, this does not fall under the Darwin Awards.
It does not. This would be a different category. Darwin Awards are more like when the guy jumps off a roof into a pool and says, "Watch this." He's the winner of a Darwin Award.
So this is just dumb criminals?
Not very successful criminals.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was his heart not in it? Was he just not dedicated enough? I'm not sure.
Ran out of steam, around, toss number 6.
Passion was missing or something.
But it was interesting because I feel like we talk about the employees, because you could see some employees in the back who are just so freaked out by this even happening that they're not doing anything. But the one brave employee from the back, because it's incredible how much time he has to just keep throwing it and thinking. I wonder if he had a countdown in his head of all right, if it doesn't go on the 9th time, I got to cut it. I got to go. Like, it was like, we have this many, I've timed this out in my brain. This is how long, I can do it until the alarms go off, until the police get there. So in the 9th time, cut and run.
I like that he had his shades. I don't know, some real hot Oakley shades. He had them up on his head, But around like brick number, smash number 3 or 4, when glass is flying up in his face, he puts his shades down, which I thought was very smart. Very
protect your eyes.
You should have.
How was he going to drive away if he had shards of glass in his eye?
Come in with some safety goggles, man. Some kind of hard hat, and that'll get the job done. This guy, talk about a dummy. Am I right?
Oh man. Well, I'll have to save this one because I feel like a really good topic for the end of the year review will be Wisconsin Man headlines, and certainly I think this one has to take top 5.
Yeah,
right.
And the headline again was all smash, no grab. Great headline, and I'm always a fan, just of good headlines like that. Hats off to whoever wrote that. As a headline writer myself, who I don't know, maybe twice a year I get a good one. I don't know. There you go. All smash, no grab.
All smash, no grab.
Solid.
Think about some of your best ones, and we'll maybe say some of them on the air.
All right, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'll think of some.
All right, we're gonna take another break, and when we come back after the news, we will talk about last night's debate. This is As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. Hour 2. That wild, man. Made it through hour 1. We're on to hour 2. What was the music? We are playing, all of our bumper music today is brought to you by local Milwaukee bands, and Matt is giving us the background on each one.
Yeah, this is a great young band that put out a record earlier this year. The band name is Ritoro. And super fantastic stuff, kind of good, kind of punchy punk rock, super young band. They're all like 18, 19 years old. And it's like one of the members is the child of a friend of mine. And I've reached that,
oh, man.
that stage in covering Milwaukee music where it's like, you know what? How much longer can I do this? Because there are literal children of friends of mine who are now playing in bands that I'm covering. So another dark night of the soul thing for me as well. So happy to give them a little exposure, though. Ritoro, great song.
Well, see, this is why you need that tattoo. So it just makes you feel a little bit younger.
The neck tattoo or the forehead tattoo with a big old Milwaukee record. Yes. I don't know. Like I said, if we make
got it.
2 more years. That's right. I'm Steve Buscemi. I'll do the Hello Kids. It's I can see it all play out in front of me now, and it's sad. It really is.
Wait till your kid is a middle schooler is just like, Dad, stop.
It's already gotten to that point. Yeah, I don't know, or very close. I've got a couple good years where my kid and I are good buddies, and after that they'll want nothing to do with me. So I'm enjoying it while I can. And I don't know. So it's I don't know, but I'm always happy to give some exposure to local Milwaukee bands. There's a ton of them, and there's a ton of great stuff out there. And for a lot of people, my age especially, or even a little bit younger than me, I think a lot of people think like, the Milwaukee music scene has been garbage ever since insert year that person turned 28 years old or something, and it's like no, that's not true. There's a whole new generation, many generations that have come since, and they're putting out great stuff. And so I think the Milwaukee music scene these days is very, very strong. A lot of great stuff out there.
Awesome. All right, so did you watch the debate last night?
Oh, the debate. I define watch. I don't know that. That's I dipped in for seconds sometimes at a time before my skin started to crawl and I wanted to leap out of my apartment. I watched. I did. I watched.
It was only an hour, so
I know.
It does go by quickly.
Thank goodness.
Just like this show. It was funny because I went in person to the Democratic debate, and I debated going in person for this one. And then I used the excuse of my move to be like, I got too much going on. But I think it was also because I just didn't know how, I didn't know who I'd run into. I feel like I would have seen less friendly faces that I inevitably ran into at the Democratic one. So I watched it from home. But then Mike proceeded to do stuff for the House and unplugged the router in the middle of the debate. And I was like, I'm watching it here.
Of all the
things. I missed a couple lines about their answers about expanding healthcare, which is really a bummer because I have thoughts on that. But what are some of your hot takes from
the
gubernatorial Republican primary debate?
You mentioned the Democratic one, which was just a week or so ago. I mean, I am not a both sides kind of guy. I am not like, both sides lie or both sides gerrymander. Both sides try to overturn an election for 2 years. I have my side. I think they're the right side. But when it comes to political debates, I am a both sides kind of guy because I find both sides, no matter if it's Democrat or Republican, really tough to watch. There's something about it that just makes my skin crawl. It's like audience Q&A or something. It's just like, I can't watch this. But I did slug through some of it. Tim Michaels, he was there, right?
He was there, and this was... He showed up, which was a big right hook right out of the gate. Rebecca Clayfish, in her opening statements, saying, Tim, thanks for showing up. Because this was his first time since joining the race that he has had to answer questions from press in any kind of public forum. Basically, everything up until this point has been press releases or statements that he practiced ahead of time and had a little bit more control over. But this was the first time that he actually had to stand up there and answer questions, and he was sweaty.
He was sweaty. It was very Nixonian of him to, a little shout out there to a sweaty old Nixon. He had a little flop sweat going on.
Yeah, the upper lip was shiny, and so I don't know if that was nerves. Some people just sweat more than other people, so that's if that's what it is, but it was noticeable. And I don't know, unclear if he knows what DACA is.
That was the big, that was that the big gaffe of...
I don't know if it was a big gaffe, but it certainly was, because he was talking about education, and he was talking about funding education, and which he also wants to totally reform how education is funded. But the follow-up question from Charles Benson was if the program he was talking about would include DACA. And his clarification question made it sound like he was unclear what DACA is.
This is the Dreamers program. This is an Obama-era program.
Not even, it's still going. We actually, I think, my friend Isioma Wabuzer, who was here 2 weeks ago, is a Dreamer. She's a Nigerian immigrant, and she's going to be back this week. And she clarified when she was on the show, DACA is still protected, and for children who were brought here as children with their parents. But that was a big, I don't know if, that was probably the biggest gaffe. As far as I don't have an answer for this question.
Right, yeah. That was about as bad as it got. It was a fairly, professional debate. There wasn't a lot of back and forth between the three candidates. There wasn't a lot of attacking each other. It was...
Truly, I think the fact that his entire platform is just on decertifying the election, this being Tim Rantham. And I don't think there's probably anything I agree with him on. But he actually, as far as if a debate is an opportunity to see a person's demeanor, he actually seemed the most sincere.
Sure. Oh, and I'm sure he is.
You know what I mean? And almost natural, because I watched Rebecca Clayfish, who came out, like we said, swinging with that line, and she is on it. But as someone who was a former actress, God, that woman's off book.
Oh, really?
I just mean she is memorized. Everything.
I see.
Everything is so. Her answers are so. They're good and they're polished, but it's she has rehearsed it to death. Watching her, and it's hard. If I had to say who a winner was as far as debate performance, I think she would. You can say she was the winner.
I'd agree.
I don't. There's very few things that I agree, also with her, that I agree on and would want implemented that she talked about. But as far as woman works hard. Yeah. And watching her, it's you can see the moments that she's actually even rehearsed having a little human reaction.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? And the way that it just, everything seemed so precise and on, and she knew exactly what her one-liner was going to be there. There was very little that seemed spontaneous, and you couldn't fluster her. And so I don't know. Again, I always say that I bring people on who are experts on these things. I am just a comedian with opinions, but I know very little about anything. But so I don't know if that means it was a good performance, is to not get flustered, to know your answers to every single question that can potentially come up. But as far as looking authentic or having any room for an organic, natural reaction, I didn't see much from her.
Yeah, there was a moment near the very end where gun control came up, and they had posed something to her about background checks or something, and there was a slight stumble, a slight I don't know what to say, and you could almost hear the wheels turning until she arrived on what she needed to say, which was somehow bringing hunters into it. Something about deer hunters.
600,000 hunters that come up every year in Wisconsin.
So as a hunter myself, as a proud and longtime deer hunter, I always, it irks me when hunters are dragged in this, because nobody is talking about banning hunting rifles or shotguns. It's such a ridiculous
So wait, when
thing.
you go hunting every year, you don't you don't use an AR-15?
I certainly do not. I use my uncle's 30-06, and it served me well over the years. So yes.
I always forget that you're a big hunting and fishing guy. And
It's one of those things. I don't know. I come from a family that are huge into it. They're big outdoors people, both men and women, everybody in my family. And for many, many years, I was not. That wasn't like when I was a teenager growing up. It was just me in my bedroom, reading Dragonlance novels or something, and just being a big nerd. And boy, how things have changed now. But eventually, so I never went out. But eventually, at some point, I was like, wow, my brothers are always going out with my dad and my family, and they're having fun, and this seems like a nice thing to do. So finally, maybe 15 years ago, I decided, why don't I give this a shot? And it's great. It's like you're sitting out in the woods all day, and you're just sitting in the woods. I don't know. It's kind of great. Or you're sitting in a boat and fishing. It's kind of great.
I guess if you have the patience to fish, you also have the patience. But do you have to be more quieter? You have to be quieter when you're hunting than fishing?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're sitting up in a tree stand, which we'll do like a couple days, you put a tree stand up and you just sit up there and you do nothing. It's a great way to just kind of zone out. Sometimes we'll do like pushes through the woods, so we'll actually walk through the woods. That's a whole thing. It's a lot of fun. It's nice to be out in nature, and it's. I know some people are just like, but you're also killing nature. That's kind of the point, and yeah, that's a weird thing that I don't even know if I've made sense of it in my brain. But it's beautiful to be out in nature, especially early morning. I mean, you go out when it's dark. You should stop me. I could wrap.
No, I think it's because it's certainly, and I've talked about it in the show. Not a hunting fishing family. My mom's dad was a big hunter, but that is one part of Wisconsin. I guess it's not Americana, Wisconsin,
Canada, sure.
And that I know less about, but I'm trying. Like I feel like there's a lot of fish out of water type funny videos we could make with me trying to learn more about hunting and fishing.
Sure.
All right. Well, not a ton of in-depth analysis.
Yeah. Sorry to get off.
But we're gonna have a segment come back that we used to do on Matt and Kristin Talk About Stuff.
I'm very excited
when
for
we
this.
come back
Yes.
on our senior senator. So we're gonna take another break, and when we come back, a recurring segment that we're bringing back. This is As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey.
Every Saturday and Sunday, 6
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. My guest today is Matt Wild. What were we just listening to, Matt?
This is a great local Milwaukee band called Rat Bath. I love this band. I love their name. Rat Bath.
I would love them even if their music were bad.
Right. They have
Rat Bath.
They have a great debut album out. Can you guess what the name of the album is?
Mouse Shower?
Rat from Hell. Kind of. I don't know if it's a shout out to Meatloaf, kind of a bat out of hell, but this is Rat from Hell. Fantastic concept record about a witch and a demon fighting each other. They are a great local kind of punk, kind of spooky countrycore band. They play out a ton at places like Quarters and Cactus Club and stuff. Fantastic group.
All right. Fun. All right. So when we had Matt and Kristin talk about stuff on Milwaukee Record, we had... I don't even know if originally it was meant to be a recurring segment, but because his name come up in the news every time we were doing a show, we ended up having a segment featuring our senior senator from Wisconsin titled
Mandatory Johnson. This was, yes, every episode, of course, there was some kind of Ron Johnson story. So I think it came together pretty quickly. Maybe by episode 2, we had labeled this thing.
You had bumper music for it. Like we had a whole thing that we unfortunately couldn't pull in time for today.
Just a big shot of his face, and it's time to little Mandatory Johnson.
Mandatory Johnson.
Yeah.
So Mandatory Johnson, kind of a surprise, I guess. I would admit that I did not see this coming from him, because as we are in the conversations from last week of after Dobbs came down and they overturned Roe v. Wade, Justice Clarence Thomas insinuated that contraception, gay marriage, same-sex sexual acts, all could be up for reinterpretation under privacy laws. And so while Democrats still have the majority in both the House and the Senate, they went to move and try to pass some of these bills to codify access to contraception and same-sex marriage and interracial marriage.
2022, yep.
And so
this is necessary.
It passed. Both those passed in the House last week, and so they're moving towards the Senate, and it's unclear if they can get 10 senators to sign on. But it sounds like Johnson might be on board.
This was stunning. Yeah, this was at least with marriage, same-sex marriage. I think he said, "I see no reason to vote against this."
To oppose it, yeah.
To oppose it. I think he had to toss in a little something like, "Well,
this is stupid.
It's stupid.
Like,
why are we doing this?"
unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. So he had to toss a little shade in there. But the fact that he said, yeah, he sees no reason to oppose it. Pretty stunning. It's a low bar to clear, but when it comes to our senior senator from Wisconsin, I was taken aback.
I was also. I feel like those are one of those things where he could have easily stepped in it, but I don't know if it's because of the clarity that running again and this being an election year and all of these things being wildly popular that he had to step in line, or if he actually feels this way. But he also said. He believes contraception. He believes in contraception, and he believes that it's the best way to reduce the number of abortions. Which, shocking, it is.
Again, a low bar.
Sexual education and contraception, biggest ways to reduce the number of abortions, not criminalizing it.
I don't know the fact that we are having to ask politicians if they support contraception. I know, of course, like abortion. Big debate has never gone away, but the fact that contraception is something we have to ask about now. It's like, do you and it's a surprise when someone is like, yeah, I support it. Like, wow, I don't know. I know. Who would have thunk we would have gotten to this point?
And he also said he would never vote to prevent women from obtaining life-saving procedures. Again, low bar, but there's guys out there saying that they would rather have the woman die than abort the fetus. So we're in crazy times right now. And then he also said he'd never vote to prevent a woman from crossing state lines, which, again, there's people out there who are trying to do that. Yeah. And so I think, in general, I was like, look at this guy being kind of moderate and kind of reasonable. And then just when you thought he was maybe not towing the party line.
Right.
You realize it was just a bait and switch. And on Friday, after the primetime January 6th hearings on Thursday night, where agents testified that they feared for their lives, Ron Johnson wants the committee to be asking the hard questions.
The tough questions.
The really
real
tough,
questions.
The real questions. He's like, they're not really getting to why was there a break even allowed to occur? Where were the warnings?
Right.
Why did they go unheeded? Where was the security? What did Nancy Pelosi know? What did Chuck Schumer know? Why didn't they provide proper security when they knew there was going to be thousands, tens of thousands of people protesting and coming to the Capitol? Good question, Ron. I'm pretty sure that's why the January 6 hearings are happening. And I'm guessing he hasn't been watching. But
Probably not, no.
The fact that I think they did ask that question, and Donald Trump has said, take down the metal detectors. They're not here to hurt me, so we don't need them.
It's a highly partisan effort, I believe he's called these hearings many a time. And yeah, you're right. The old bait and switch, just when you thought...
Just like, oh, maybe you'll be a little normal because you're trying to get reelected.
This glimmer of light, he throws it all away. And it's, it's our guy. He's our senior senator. It reminds me of on Milwaukee Record, one of the my favorite stories we've ever ran is about Ron Johnson, and this was written by a pal of mine. His name is Barry Weber, and it's a story about how Ron Johnson made Barry a mix CD about 20 years ago, in early 2001 or something, when Barry was a radio DJ at UW Oshkosh, I believe, and he had a folk radio show. And Ron Johnson at the time, this was long before, he became Senator Johnson. He was still, head of his, plastic company or whatever it is. But
his
he was,
wife's parents.
His wife, right, yeah. But he was also apparently the founder of a group called the Oshkosh Friends of Folk Music. Go figure. And Barry, I don't know who reached out to who, but Ron had a folk show that he was promoting, that he was putting together for an artist named John Gorka. And reached out to Barry and was like, hey, I'd like to introduce you to this. And so he made him a mix CD. So, it's...
Ron Johnson, Friends of Folk Music.
He was human once.
All right, we'll take a break.
FM, your fix for progressive talk. From Big Bend to Monotony.
Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin, Brey. My guest today is Matt Wild from Milwaukee Record. And who were we just listening to?
That was a song called The Commuter, as you might have guessed.
The Commuter.
From a local band called Conan Neutron, or Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Conan Neutron and his pals have been making music for a long time. They have a new record out where they and another band just took some song titles, and they each wrote songs, separate songs based on those titles, and kind of made a split EP. And so that's a fantastic song. It's one of those songs that's just always caught in my head. The Commuter by Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends.
How many shows do you think you go to in a year?
I could
now that it's not pandemic times.
I could look it up because I'm one of those weirdos that keeps like track of stuff like that, like in some weird little journal. I don't know. I'd have to get back to you, but I go to a fair amount. Not as much as I probably should, but I am an older man. I'm an older gentleman. I'll turn 59 this fall, so it is not as easy to get out these days. Other commitments and falling asleep at 8 o'clock. But no, I get out to my fair share, and I'd like to. It's great being a fan of like Milwaukee music and like having like favorite Milwaukee bands because you can see them very, very easily, and you can see them
and affordably
all the time. Yeah, for like $5-10 or something like that. So that's fantastic.
I mean, Ticketmaster isn't like spiking up the price.
No, incredibly,
a
show at the Cactus, does not have a lot of Ticketmaster fees. You're paying, sometimes a whopping $20, but bands are worth it. That's a whole other topic.
But at least your High Life's only $4.
Oh, the High Life, it flows.
Maybe.
It flows.
$2.50?
Oh yeah, $3 tops. Yeah, easily.
All right. Well, since I only moved to Milwaukee in October of 2020, so it's not even been 2 years, which means that I never got to, I've yet, until this weekend, had not experienced the Milwaukee Air Show because it hasn't been here for 3 years. And so at the lakefront, it was finally the return of the Milwaukee Air and Water Show for the first time in 3 years. And I definitely, while I did not have time to go down and enjoy it because I had a baby shower I had to attend on Saturday, and otherwise I was unpacking my house, I certainly heard it. Certainly heard the vroom vroom. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you have opinions on the vroom vroom.
I do.
So let's hear this.
I do. Look, I made the classic mistake of having an opinion and voicing it in a public forum. Sometimes, even though I can see that people read things that I write, I can look at the Google Analytics and I'm like, wow, a lot of people read it. Sometimes it doesn't enter my mind of like, oh wow, people might read this. And then I'll write.
Really, even after 8 years.
Even after 8 years.
Sometimes you're like, I'm just voicing my opinion into the ether,
exactly.
And forgetting that you have an entire platform that you've built where people could weigh in.
It is a strange weakness of mine, and it happened this past Friday. I don't know. It was just a quick kind of like roundup of stuff that was going on, and I'm like, look, I think the headline was something like, oh God, it's the air show this weekend. And I had something about vroom, 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 and how I don't like the air show, and how I was skipping town, and how et cetera, et cetera. People were not happy with this opinion. Like I said, I made the mistake of, I know I'm not alone. Let me say this. I know I am not alone in my dislike of the air show, just because it's very, very loud, and I live on the east side, and these things are buzzing around all day. I was driving. I was headed east on North Avenue. I saw one of these planes come over a building, kind of like where Jalisco used to be, kind of across the street from the Whole Foods there. I saw a plane come over the top of that building. I gasped when I saw it. It looked wrong. It was so low and so close to the ground. I thought like, oh wow, this is what a plane crash looks like. I was really, really freaked out. So there's that. There's the noise. There's my cat, who I don't see for days on end because the cat has just buried himself in a closet somewhere. Look, I realize that a lot of people like this. No disrespect to the very, very talented men and women. I believe there was a woman this time around flying one of the Blue Angels, right?
Yeah.
This was a big deal, of course. No disrespect to them, though. I think a lot of people took my just tossed off article.
What was the best comment? Best meaning stuck out the most?
Oh, the best. Well, I reported one to the authorities. So
Really?
yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, there was one that crossed a line to. I need to let someone know about this. Yeah, folks were not happy. I've done that a couple times in my illustrious career.
You had a threat?
Had to.
It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
even that bad. You were just kind of.
Yeah. I didn't think so too, yeah, but yeah, at least one. So reported to the authorities. I'm sure they're working hard on that right now. As
hard as they're trying to find the K Jewelers burglar.
That's right. As any like non-white male person who's on the internet and gets harassed on the internet, I'm sure can attest. Yeah, I'm sure they're right on that. They really take that seriously.
Man, I didn't realize you had an actual. I thought it was just people being.
Yeah, there was some grumbling, but you know what? So I apologize. I apologize, but I did leave town. I left town for the weekend, as is my custom when the air show rolls around, and I had a lovely time in rural Wisconsin, where there were a bunch of planes flying overhead because it was the EAA, right?
Which is this weekend.
They're all headed to Oshkosh, so I was kind of in that flight path. And but that was fine. It's like you see them way up there. They're not buzzing. Your windows are not rattling. Your cat is not having a heart attack for 3 days straight. So yeah, I'm sorry. No disrespect to, and I know a lot of people like this thing. Both, it seems like it draws a lot of people that don't normally come to Milwaukee, and I'm happy to share Milwaukee with everyone. I wish that those people then would not go on to insult Milwaukee after spending a delightful day or 2 days in the city. I saw a lot of that as well. So that's something I don't really appreciate, but I'm happy to share the city with them, and I'm glad they had a nice time and enjoyed our beautiful lakefront. I enjoyed, like I said, beautiful small town Wisconsin away from the plains. So
was it hot up there?
It was, well, it was funny. It was a memorable weekend because I was in my hometown of Mayville, and a tornado warning went through Mayville. It was all over the news at night, so had to go down into the basement Saturday night and do the whole thing. I even shot a little video that ended up on the news. I was out there working. I was
just content creator mad.
I was doing
making news in Mayville.
That's right. It was like, oh, right, yeah, we had exclusive video from Matt Wild in Mayville. I was like, yep, that's me. So.
I'm assuming there was no tornado.
But I had a video of the sirens and stuff. So it was a very memorable weekend, and turns out a very loud weekend, with or without the Blue Angels screeching overhead. So, like I said, I know I'm not alone, but I made the mistake of voicing that opinion in a very public forum.
That's interesting. I have yet, and maybe it's because I have not gotten as relaxed as you, but like I would say, or the oversight, or however you want to qualify your attention to realizing that everyone's paying attention to stuff that you say. Because I have yet to say something that I've yet to step in it.
Oh, good.
In the 2+ years of As Goes Wisconsin, and maybe it's because it's not as popular. I don't know, but like I have yet to have such a backlash that I've had to report anything. Knock on wood, but I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah, and most of them, I do have one here. There was a lot of screenshotting from me seeing these roll in. A lot of typos here, which is the icing on the cake. Your writer, Matt Wild, all spelled wrong, should be ashamed and fired. The first grade temper tantrum of an article on the Air and Water Show. Very offensive, immature, and no facts about the history and honor tradition that the pilots go through. Not to mention the first female pilot. Like I said, I was not delving into the history of it. Perhaps I should have. But like I said, I am here to apologize to the world. I'm very, very sorry. Please don't hurt me.
God. All right. Well, to change gears to a different event that we just, I guess not just, but 2 weeks out from, Summerfest. Did you go to Summerfest this year?
I did go to Summerfest a lot this
I'm jealous. I only got to go one night, which I was kind of bummed about.
Summerfest was, just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. And I know earlier we were talking about kind of the Friday at 5 p.m. news releases. This, I think, was a Thursday at 6 news release. This was the annual What Was Summerfest's attendance this year? And turns out it was like in the 400,000 range. That is I believe it was up 8.8% from last year, which was a very strange year last year. It was the first time they tried this 3-weekend format. It was, of course, kind of in the middle of the pandemic. There was vax and, all that required at the gate. So this was only just up a little bit from last year and way down from pre-pandemic. And, it's one of those things. It's just an annual thing that I always love talking about, love thinking about Summerfest attendance and how people get really into it or get riled up about it or see it as the decline of Summerfest or, this is doing this wrong. This year, of course, it was 3 weekends again. It was 3 Thursday, Friday, Saturday blocks. So everyone had an opinion about that, about whether this format is good or bad, or we should go back to the old 10 or 11 days in a row kind of thing. I don't know. I'm of the opinion that I kind of like Summerfest not being so crowded. It kind of peaked in I think the early 2000s, 2001 and 2. I think it topped 1 million attendees over 10 or 11 days. It's about half that these days, and fewer days. Obviously, it's 9 days now, but. I kind of appreciate not being in just a huge crowd. Like I said, I'm an older gentleman at this point, so these are the things I appreciate.
Well, and I saw someone, because ultimately, if it's a business, because let's be honest, Summerfest isn't making its money from its GA tickets that they're selling for admittance. Right. You can get those for free.
They're handing them out, yeah.
And so whatever is the $15 or $20 it costs to just get in there. What they're making their money on is concessions and beer and everything. And so if you have a clientele who's coming in and spending the same amount, for them, do the numbers add up? That it's not necessarily the attendance numbers, is how they're making their money. And so if you have a bunch of teenagers coming in with free tickets that aren't buying anything, but you get that tally count on that one more person who came, business-wise, does that really make a difference? And so, I think if it actually does mean the decline of Summerfest, that should be worrisome. But this year, there's a bunch of changes. This was Don Smiley's stepping down. Who's the other?
The entertainment booker. His name is Bob Babish. He is also, I think he's done this year. I think
he's consulting.
Yeah, I think they're both kind of hanging around for another year. I think Don Smiley may be on through next year as well. Talk about being surprised that people read stuff I write. Tyler and I at Milwaukee Record wrote kind of a back and forth about what we thought about the new format. And I got an email from Don Smiley.
Really?
A personal, not a very long one. And right away when I saw that it was long, I was like, uh-oh, this looks bad. But I read it, and it was a very generous, very nice email talking about our piece that we had kind of discussed it. And he's like, wow, you brought up a lot of great points, and these are the things we are thinking about, and it's tough, and the pandemic, and obviously all that sort of thing. So, yeah.
So it was a thoughtful...
non-death threat email. And boy, when you get those... You really want to hang your hat on those.
You really appreciate it. After you get a death threat, when you get the non-death threat... Yeah. Really means a lot more.
Really puts a spring in your step, and boy, did I feel great going into that weekend. So, thank you, Don. And
so what are your thoughts on because again, I remember coming to Summerfest as a kid, as a Madison kid, and then was not here for a very long time. And so I don't have strong opinions on the weekends versus consecutive days. Potentially, I think maybe I could get down there more. I think the biggest argument I've heard is how it really screws over service industry people in the city. Because if you move it to just being on the weekends, which are the highest paying days for anyone who works in a bar or a restaurant, or even at the theaters and stuff like that, you're basically saying that they don't get to go to Summerfest because they're either making them sacrifice their top earning day of the month or days of the week, or they get to go to a show. And so that's kind of the strongest argument I've heard of who this screws over. But what's in 20 seconds? What's your...
20 seconds. I don't think they're ever going to go back to a 10 or 11 days in a row. I think the weekend format is here to stay. This is just kind of a hunch, but I think we're going to have to get used to it. I think that's what it's going to be.
All right. Well, we got one more break, and then we're going to talk about this very busy weekend in Milwaukee this weekend and see how many people from the outside we get to share the city with. All right. This is As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. Welcome back to As Goes Wisconsin. I feel like I'm listening to the beginning of Stranger Things. Like
Yes.
the intro music to Stranger Things.
This is a Milwaukee duo, Immortal Girlfriend. This is a brother act, and they've been putting out, kind of largely instrumental tracks like this. Like you said, kind of definitely gives you a John Carpenter or Stranger Things vibe. Really cool, kind of real cool, dark kind of electro. They've been doing it for years. One of the brothers has a side project called Black Challenger. Check them out. They play a lot of the festivals. I know they're playing still more this summer. And a lot of festivals. Speaking of festivals.
There's a lot of festivals this weekend in the city of festivals. What is happening all of this weekend?
This is, every week on Milwaukee Record, we'll do, on Monday, kind of look ahead to the week and then the following weekend and kind of we have a calendar, an events calendar. And I'll put something together every week. We call it Record Recommended, which is, the stuff that we think you should check out. It's not a complete show calendar for every single venue and every single show, but it's just the stuff that we think is worthwhile checking out. And it's last night, as I was putting it together, halfway through, I was like, oh, it's this weekend. And it tends to be always the last weekend in July that there are 100 different things happening at once. Now, I believe the Air and Water Show used to be on the last weekend of July, too, so add that into it. Thank goodness that was last week. I'm a big fan of the Air and Water Show. I changed my mind on that completely. But yes, this coming weekend, the final weekend in July, I counted 7 festivals happening in Milwaukee this coming weekend, beginning on Friday and running through Sunday. So you've got big festivals down at the Summerfest grounds, the Henry Meyer Festival Park. You've got German Fest. German Fest is coming back, I believe, for the first time since the pandemic. It is their 40th anniversary. They are doing it big on the lakefront. They have fireworks, I believe, Friday and Saturday night. So that's a big lakefront festival. That is happening this weekend. On Saturday, you've got one of the biggest block parties in town, the Brady Street Festival. That is another long-running festival, and that is a beautiful thing, just up and down pretty much all of Brady Street, 9 blocks or whatever it is. There are 3 stages. There are tons of local groups, some of which we've heard tonight, this afternoon rather, and that's going on Saturday. Not to be outdone on, I think it starts Friday night and goes through Saturday night, is the River West 24. This is the big 24-hour bike race in River West, which is, I don't even want to call it a bike race. It's just a bike ride. It's a big neighborhood party. It is a neighborhood celebration. I know the first year of the pandemic, it was kind of not happening at all. Last year, I think it was kind of back to normal. This year, I would suspect it's going to be a big old party again. It's a fantastic thing, even though I think Humboldt Drive is really torn up right now in River West. So hopefully everyone's going to avoid that, but that's happening. And then on top of that, those are kind of the big ones. And then there are other kind of smaller festivals. There is the Weird Fest Block Party that is at Mobcraft. There is the 7th Steinine Festival. I think I'm pronouncing that right. That's at Cactus Club. There is Milwaukee Brew Fest at McKinley Park.
Yeah.
That is they've been going, 10, 12 years at this point. And that's, you pay, I don't know how much tickets are, maybe $50, $60, and you get unlimited samples of, all these, talking about beer again, bring it back full circle. And Puddler's Hall, also we mentioned them. They have their, I think, 2nd annual block party outside their bar in Bayview. They call that the Rock Party Block Party. There are bands, there are, food trucks, the usual wonderful things that we all kind of know and love and come to expect from Milwaukee festivals, and it's all happening this weekend. So like I said, I counted 7. I'm probably forgetting or overlooking 1 or 2 more.
Well, you know what else is happening this weekend? My bachelorette party.
I forgot that. That's right.
Did you use your invite in the mail?
I forgot it. I got to go back, change the Record Recommended to include your bachelorette party. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, my soon-to-be sisters-in-law are throwing me a surprise. Well, what we're doing is a surprise, so I actually have no idea what we will be doing. But no, with the list of everything you just rattled off, it seems like people will be out and about and will have been drinking all day.
Yep.
And so pretty much anywhere we go in the city, we will be in good company of libations.
Yeah, there is just no shortage. I mean, like I said, from big things to kind of smaller little block parties and the River West 24 on top of that. Good grief. It's, I don't know.
Which one will you be at? Which one are you looking forward to?
I'm going to be probably stumbling around the River West 24.
Okay.
Big fan of that. A lot of friends who live in River West. So we just like to, I'm not participating in it. I'm not riding it. I never have ridden in the 24, but I like just being in the neighborhood that night, and it goes, all night. It starts at 7 o'clock on Friday and ends 7 p.m. on Saturday.
So people ride their bike for 24 hours?
24 hours, you bet. There's tons of checkpoints that
It's not like a relay where you take a break? Like, there's some people who are literally riding the entire time?
Absolutely.
Wow.
There are teams. I think some people do teams, but there are tons of checkpoints where you have to do... you get points for doing kind of crazy things. I don't know what they are these years. I know years past, it was like get a tattoo, a River West 24 tattoo, and you get, 50 points.
Another forehead tattoo.
That's right. Stuff like that. So that's all part of it. And like I said, it's not it's not a competitive race. No one's really out to win it. It is more of a neighborhood celebration, just walking around River West and seeing people just, out on their lawns, having, just parties out on their lawns. It's fantastic. It's funny because it was one of those things that I never liked for some reason. I had never gone for some reason and kind of grumbled about it because that's just my nature, I guess. And then one year I finally went to the thing and I was like, wow, this is wonderful. Why have I not been going for years? So, like I said, just like the Milwaukee Air Show, which I've changed my mind completely on. I love it. Yep.
A death threat will do that. So we only have a couple minutes left. So where can people find you? Where can people find Milwaukee Record? Why should people find Milwaukee Record? What can you plug in 2 minutes?
We are on the World Wide Web at MilwaukeeRecord.com, and we cover like all things Milwaukee. A lot of Milwaukee music, a lot of Milwaukee, arts and entertainment, that sort of thing. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's a TikTok that I occasionally will put where I will open old packs of trading cards for some reason. It has nothing to do with Milwaukee, but it's like, here's some Spice Girls cards from 1997. I'm going to open them up on TikTok. Why not? That's kind of quality content you can expect there.
Money off that yet?
No, absolutely not.
Spice Girl cards?
I need to talk to you about how to truly monetize TikTok. But yeah, and you can find me on Twitter as well. It's by Matt Wild. And yeah, we're just, like I said, I'm so happy to have been doing what we've been doing now for 8 years, and my business partner Tyler could not do it without him. And it's nice to have a full-time gig like this. It's still stunning that I've been doing this for so long, and some people are equally stunned. They're like, well, you must be doing something else, and I'm like, shockingly no. So
it's a very cool thing to be able to do what you're passionate about for a living. So I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming here today. I'm sure this will not be the first, but not the last time that you join us on As Goes Wisconsin with Kristin Brey. Till next time, Matt Wild.